Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of the Standing Room Only podcast. I, myself, Goose, am here with Healy, a.k.a. the newest member of the Cheesehead family.
No way.
I don't know. It looks to be otherwise right now. If I didn't know any better, it looks like you're a Cheesehead today.
Yeah, if you guys missed the last episode, I made a bet where if the Bears lost, I would wear a Cheesehead. So here we are.
Yeah, that was a good bet. I was willing on sacrificing everything I believed in and was going to wear as much Bears gear as I can find. Luckily, the Packers pulled off that game, and I'm glad you're a true sportsman. You show sportsmanship, and you're wearing the hat today, so I applaud you for that.
Yeah, no worries. Hopefully I don't ever have to wear this again.
It's all right. Well, anyways, welcome everybody. This is episode 8, right?
Yep.
It's been 8 weeks already. Welcome back to everybody who's listening to the first time. Welcome in. I just want to thank everybody for downloading, sharing, staying interactive on social media. Again, we are on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify. Instagram and Twitter, we are on SR Only Pod. YouTube channel and Spotify, we are the Standing Room Only Podcast.
Yeah, you can find myself at the Healy6 on Instagram and Twitter, and you can find Goose.
I'm on Instagram at iGoose. That's with 4 O's. Don't ask why. So we've had a lot going on in this past week, and I wasn't sure at which point we would stop talking about baseball. I thought it would be weeks ago.
I thought that there would be a 2-month window where it's like, oh, what happened in baseball this week? Yeah, this minor leaguer signed a $500,000 contract. Now, 9 out of the top 10 guys are already signed.
Huge contracts. So before we ended last week's episode, or as we ended last week's episode, we were talking about Garrett Cole. So we knew that Strasburg had just signed. Huge contract.
Yeah.
Record deal.
Yeah.
We are done recording the podcast. We're sitting here uploading. Garrett Cole signs.
He signed right after the episode. Not even during it. We ended and we looked on Twitter and he signed right
I'm
then.
convinced he was listening and was like, I'm going to mess with these guys. So
Well,
we were wondering what contract would he get, knowing Strasburg got that huge contract. Yankees jumped on it. We knew the Yankees were pursuing him heavily. Yankees always have the budget to spend $5 billion on a player if they wanted to, and fortunately enough for them, they were able to land Garrett Cole for $324 million over 9 years, which is a record deal.
Mm-hmm. I did not expect. I was expecting $300 million being the max. $324, which is the second highest in MLB history, behind Bryce Harper. Harper doesn't have the highest annually. He just has the most money because he signed for 13 years.
Yeah, he signed for a whole lifetime.
29. His contract will end when he's 37, 38-ish.
Yeah.
So he'll be towards the tail end of his career. He's getting $35 million a year.
Yeah, it averages out to $36 million a year.
36. He averaged $1 million more than Strasburg.
Yeah,
but he got 9 years, which is ridiculous. Normally, pitchers average. They normally get the highest average per year. Like you've seen it with Kershaw, David Price. I don't know about Chris Sale, but they normally get the most annually. They just don't get as lengthy as a contract as a position player. So it's weird seeing Garrett Cole be number 2 all time in contracts.
Yeah. To see a pitcher do that, I mean, I don't want to say he's old. He's 29.
No. He still has a lot left.
If I'm Garrett Cole, if I'm any baseball player, because it's all guaranteed money, I'll sign that 9-year contract. Same thing with Harper. He signed the $13 million contract. If I'm not mistaken, Garrett Cole does he have a no-trade clause?
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure he has a no-trade clause. I could be mistaken, but if that is the case, that's huge. He doesn't even have to perform. He's guaranteed the money.
I think with players' contracts, let's say they go and sign with a new team. If they're with that team for longer than 5 years, then they develop a no-trade clause.
Okay.
Naturally.
Yeah, that's okay.
Adam Jones last year was being shipped, but he was with the Orioles so long and he was a certain age. So he had like a no trade clause, like naturally. So maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. He does have an option after his 5th year, maybe.
Yeah, so it's according to the report of the contract, it's the full no trade clause and he has the opt out after the 5th year. So we'll see. I mean, I feel like Yankees do that. They like signing guys like they had CC Sabathia for what seemed like a long time after
10 years.
Yeah, and he had so many good years with the Indians. Like that's how I remember CC Sabathia. I think it was a good move. I think the Yankees, they obviously have an amazing offense. They have some pitching talent as it is, and Garrett Cole right there, I mean, with their bats, I don't see how he doesn't win 20 games over the next couple of years each season.
They've missed out on making the World Series 2 years in a row now. One of their biggest reasons, they've had somewhat of a rotation. They have not had that standout guy. And this year, there's like, you know what? We haven't won a World Series in a decade. We haven't even made a World Series in a decade.
Which is unheard of.
We're going to go out, spend the money, and make sure we get this top dog. And what's amazing about it, Garrett Cole prevented the Yankees from advancing this year.
Exactly.
So he goes from an AL West threat now onto their team. It changes the whole landscape.
Oh, completely.
And if he's amazing for at least 5 years, good for them.
I say they get their money's worth if they can win 1 or 2 World Series out of it. All I have to say is, Yankees fans, you are the toughest fans to listen to. Probably out of the whole Major League Baseball fan system, whatever you want to call it, and you guys are the most blessed. They've signed some of the best players, and they just spend money. Obviously, as a Sox fan, we don't get that. We don't get that at all.
As a Cubs fan, they have spent money the past few years, but their window, they've won 1 World Series in over 100 years, and their window is like closing fast. So it's not fun. The Yankees always have an open window.
Yep.
Their window never closes. And they always sign the right guys. Rest in peace to Garrett Cole's fantastic beard and hair. He'll be shaving that as the policy for the Yankees. You can't have a beard.
Oh, wait, really? I did not know that.
Yeah, that's always been a thing.
Good for...
Yeah, they're one of 2 teams that do it. The other team is the Marlins because Don Mattingly is the manager. He was a former Yankee, so
he kind of developed that. Yeah, okay.
That mentality. So yeah, the Yankees, they're the only team that does it. I wonder if they'll ever get rid of it. I don't think so because of the tradition that they have there. But yeah, he'll no longer have a beard. Which
I doubt the beard makes a difference in how he's gonna come out and pitch every day. I mean, just playing with the Astros too. I mean, they had such a good starting rotation that, I mean, I'm sure they developed something. He was already good going to Houston, but I'm sure he got a little bit better in some shape, way, or form.
Yeah. They know how to get the velocity up on these guys' pitches, and they have great pitching system over there. We've seen it with Charlie Morton, seen it with Garrett Cole, Verlander at his age. Another one.
Yeah.
They just develop guys really well over there. So, yeah, if you're a young pitcher, it might not be bad. That's why if they went out and signed Zach Wheeler, he probably would have been Garrett Cole 2.0.
Yep.
With the development.
Which we saw him get signed by the Phillies. Yep. So there were some other signings, some other big signings. We saw, I think, our favorite player from this past season.
Anthony Rendon. He's going to the L.A. I can't remember hearing any other offers for him. Maybe the Dodgers put in an offer. I'm not too sure. He's going to average $35 million a year, I believe.
Yeah, I believe that's what it's
245 for 7.
Yep.
So, yeah, averages out to $35 million per year, which is ridiculous. I'm glad that teams are spending money this year. That lineup is going to be fun to watch.
Just him and Trout alone. I mean, he's going to complement Trout.
And then you have Ohtani DHing some of the days. Those 3 guys are sick.
He's still pitching too?
He didn't pitch last year because he had Tommy John, but he was able to hit every day. He's going to pitch again.
That's crazy.
So next year, you'll see him pitch and hit. And that lineup is turning out to be great. Especially with Mike Trout. He hasn't really had someone hit behind him that's been amazing. When he started getting feared and whatnot, Albert Pujols, he was
Pujols.
already declining.
Yeah, he's been on a decline for a few years. I mean, he's been doing it since, '01?
Yeah.
So eventually he was going to hit his decline. But I think personally, they're definitely going to be one of my favorite teams to watch, just with those two guys alone and Ohtani. But do you think they're a playoff team yet?
They don't have any pitching. They don't have any starters. Their bullpen isn't great. So they could be like a dark horse wild card team. I don't see them winning the division, though. They're still like a year off or two with spending money and getting free agents. This year, though, no. They don't have anyone in the rotation.
Yeah, they went 72 and 90 this past season. Adding a bat such as Rendon is huge. Does it make a difference when they're in that? That's a tough division they're in.
AL West, who just added Kluber.
Yeah, they just added Kluber to, you said, Texas, right? He
Yeah.
got traded. So Texas got a little bit better. Houston, I don't think they're going to lose too much by losing out on Cole.
I could see them. It depends who they get pitching wise. Like they picked up Greinke last year. They're going to get McCullers back in the rotation. It just depends how that team is. And also, we don't know any of the suspensions with their cheating scandal.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So we'll have to see what happens with that. I could still see them winning like 90 games. Maybe not the 105 that they won this year, but their team hasn't really changed too much. They haven't really lost anyone besides Cole.
Yeah, they still have good bats on the offensive side. So, and then Oakland randomly won 97 games this past year quietly.
They still have a solid roster.
Their roster's not bad. So we'll see what the Angels do. Like you said, maybe 2, maybe even 3 years. But they locked up Rendon for a while. Trout's not leaving anytime soon. He just signed his huge extension. So offensively, I think they'll be okay. Like you said, they just have to go out and spend that money on some bats.
Well, yeah, some starting rotation guys.
Oh, I'm sorry, pitching. Correct.
Yeah, well, staying in the AL West, Corey Kluber got traded for Emmanuel Clase and Delino DeShields. Highway robbery. Corey Kluber coming off a year where he had 6 or 7 starts after pitching 200 innings for like a few years. That is great. He has a few years left on his deal, I believe. I don't know the exact details. They'll have him for at least 2. But they gave up nothing for him. The Indians, I don't know why they're trying to shed salary when they're in a contending window. It's just so wild to me how they want to not spend as much money as possible. And they're so desperate that they're going to trade Corey Kluber for nothing. Delino DeShields, they need outfield help.
But when was the last time he was actually good? I know he's only
never
been in the
been
league.
good.
He's only been in the league a few years,
He's
but
never been good.
He just has speed, from my understanding.
Yeah, so never been good in a sense. And then they got Clase, who is like a 22-year-old pitcher. He throws a 100-mile-per-hour cutter. He doesn't actually purposely throw a cutter. It naturally just comes out of his hand that way. And he's a one-pitch pitcher. So unless he develops like a slider and a changeup, he'll just be a fastball thrower. And in this day and age, you can't just have a fastball. These guys know how to turn on 100 miles per hour.
At this point, yeah. If you're one-dimensional, I mean, eventually Chapman started getting hit. I mean, throwing 100 is nice, but how do you complement that if you can't follow up with an off-speed pitch?
Yeah, Corey Kluber has a deal until next year, and then he has an option for 2021. So 2 years with the Rangers, not bad for what they gave up. Not bad at all.
Yeah, Corey Kluber was like the best pitcher in all of baseball for a couple of years straight, if I'm not mistaken.
He won a Cy Young in 2017. He was finished 3rd in 2018. Finished 3rd in 2016. He won it in 2014. 2015, he was okay, but he had a 3.4 ERA. Last year, he just had injury problems, so he'll figure it out. He'll go to Texas. That's a great piece that they needed for the next step, and it's great because the Rangers are getting a new stadium, which is why they're trying to get these players. I think they were in on Rendon. They had to get someone because you need guys to come into the ballpark.
Oh yeah, especially when you get a new stadium.
So Corey Kluber traded for nothing. Madison Bumgarner staying out west.
Yep.
With the Arizona Diamondbacks.
The Diamondbacks.
$85 million for
5 years.
5 years. So not a lot. This year he's getting paid $6 million. That's not a lot.
So that's his first year on the deal, and then obviously it's gonna jump up tremendously over the next 4 years. How is that working?
15 million of the dollars are deferred, which means like he's not going to get paid $15 million until like the contract's over.
Oh,
So like this year it's like 6 million. Next year it's like 14 million. The year after that it's like 15 million. I can find out right now.
Madison Bumgarner. Interesting. He had an okay season. He ended up going 9-9 on the year. He had over 200 strikeouts. His ERA was in the upper threes, which was okay. Not the normal Bumgarner that we're used to.
Yeah, he pitched with the terrible Giants, so
Yeah.
it's not great. So he gets 6 million, then he goes up to 19 million, which 5 million of that will be deferred until after the contract. Then 23, 5 million will be deferred, and then 23, and then 14. So I don't know if deferred money still counts for payroll and all that. Maybe it does. I would assume so. So like even $23 million on the payroll isn't bad compared to Zach Greinke, who they were paying 35.
Yeah, just for the
That's
year.
a lot of saving.
Yeah.
And especially this year, 6 million. They could go out and get someone else maybe for like a 1-year deal and see what they can do with the team.
Yeah, that's not a bad deal at all.
I'm kind of surprised he went to the Diamondbacks. I was not expecting it at all. Staying in the National League, I guess, made sense because he's a great hitter. He loves to hit.
Yeah, he
Going
does.
to the AL,
Yep.
he wouldn't be able to do that. The Diamondbacks, so I just came out of nowhere. It's not expecting it at all. But it kind of makes sense. They were a decent team for a lot of the year. And they should only get better this year.
Yeah, the Diamondbacks, what did they finish this year? They finished... Well, they actually won 85 and 77. I didn't realize that they finished 8 games over 500.
Finished better than the Cubs.
Yeah, they did. And, you know, there wasn't much hype about Mad Bum in the free agency, considering there was Strasburg and Cole and Zach Wheeler. And, I mean, Madison Bumgarner, he's had a history of shutting some teams down for a few years. I mean, he's a big lefty to come in, pitch 6-7 innings. He still has some velocity.
Yeah, he's not known for it, and as he gets older, it's not going to be a problem. It's not like a guy who gets by people with velocity.
Exactly.
He could slow down. His pitches are just that good.
Yeah, he's got movement on some of his pitches, and I think it's a good move for them. I didn't expect him to sign with the Diamondbacks, but I'm not, like, overly surprised.
Yeah, he's more of a... I don't necessarily know. He'll take what he can get. Bumgarner.
Didn't he get hurt like in an accident, like an RTV accident a couple years ago?
I think it was a snow...
Like a snowmobile?
Yeah, snowmobile accident.
Okay.
When they were in like Colorado or something.
Okay, I do remember that.
So yeah, not a bad deal for Bumgarner. There was Brett Gardner re-signed. Nothing really cool. I can't picture him ever in another uniform besides the Yankees uniform.
Yeah, he's
I
been
wish
there for
10 years.
Yeah, at
since
least
the World Series.
Yeah.
I wish he would re-sign with another team though, since he plays decent in that team because they have such a stacked lineup. He's been blessed with all the people around him.
Yep.
He plays well in that stadium because they have the short porch in right field. I just wish he would go to another team just so I could see him not put up the numbers that he does.
It'd be interesting to see because he's a lefty bat, if I'm not mistaken, right? So he
Yeah.
does have the short porch. I don't think he's that bad. I think if he goes to another team, he might not bat the way he does. But I don't know if he'd be that bad. Doesn't he have some speed? Can't he steal bags too?
A little bit.
Maybe not as
a
much as
little
he
bit.
used to.
He was just a part of that era with the Yankees that I didn't like. And
Yeah.
people hype him up too much, and I don't want to see that anymore.
There were some other moves in the MLB.
Michael Wacha, Rick Porcello, both signed with the Mets. So Michael Wacha, he'll be like their number 5 starter. Very good signing in that sense. I've played Fortnite with Michael Wacha. I've played Call of Duty with him.
Oh, that's
pretty
awesome.
Cool. So he'll fit in well. I think he was like a 3 or 4 with the Cardinals last year.
Yeah.
He's a perfect. He'll work great in the 5 spot. Rick Porcello led the league in losses in like ERA last year or something. He was terrible.
Yeah, and just a couple of years ago, he was
He won the Cy Young.
a quote-unquote stud.
Yeah, he won the Cy Young when he shouldn't have. He won it because he had the most wins in the MLB. We all know how bullshit it is.
Yeah, when you
wins.
have bats that are putting up 8 runs a game, you can literally have an ERA of 5, maybe not 5, but around 5, and still lead the league in wins when your team is killing it on the offense.
So good signing for the Mets. Their rotations now: DeGrom, Syndergaard, Stroman, Matz, and then now Wacha and Porcello. So they might have a 6-man rotation. They might make Michael Wacha be like a spot starter or like a long reliever guy. So like they might run him out there for, let's just say they have a blowout or they're getting blown out.
Mm-hmm.
They could throw him in for a few innings here and there. So there might be injuries too.
Yeah,
so
I was going to say
not
injuries
bad
happen
to
all
have
the time.
6 starters. It's actually probably pretty good. Jose Peraza signed with the Red Sox. Minor move. He played shortstop last year, somewhat second base.
Mm-hmm.
Red Sox need a second baseman, so we'll see what he can do there. Blake Trinan went to the Dodgers. The A's were like, you know what? You had somewhat of a down year in 2019. We don't like spending money, so you'll go on the free agent market. And the Dodgers were like, all right, come to us. Great signing. I think he won reliever of the year in 2018. Could be mistaken. He was one of the best relievers in baseball in 18. He throws like a sinker, cutter, has a bunch of movement. With that Dodgers lineup and where he could be put, like as like a setup man, or he won't be the closer because Jansen's still there. I think he'll thrive. I think he'll get better again, and he'll thrive. So
Could you see him being like a setup man over there?
yeah, he'll be like a 7 or 8.
7 or 8th inning guy. Yeah, because like you said, Jensen's he's a pretty damn good closer out over in L.A.
He had a down year, but we'll have to see how he bounces back. And then the White Sox, they made a move. They traded one of their prospects, and who else did they trade for Nomar Mazara?
Let's take a look. So they did trade for Mazara.
I think it was only one of their prospects and like something else.
Steele Walker. Let's see. I'm not seeing anybody else. I know that there's 2 players on that trade, right?
I thought so. I don't. Maybe it was just a 1-for-1.
From what I'm seeing, it's a 1-for-1. Just says Nomar Mazara to the White Sox for outfielder Steele Walker.
Yeah, was it.
I think it was a good move, potentially for both teams. I don't know how much longer Mazara was gonna last in Texas. I think he's a solid bat.
He still has 3 years left on his of team control. So the White Sox will have him for the next 3 years. He'll be a lefty power bat.
Yep.
Hopefully he'll thrive.
He's a .261 career batter. In the last couple of seasons, he's basically averaging 20 home runs. He's hit 20 home runs in every season but last year.
And he only played 116 last year.
Exactly. So, I mean, if he stays healthy, maybe he plays 150 games. I could see him being potentially a 30 home run guy. The Sox have a lot of bats.
Yeah, the White Sox lineup compared to the Rangers, so much better.
Way better.
So he'll have protection. He'll fit in there nicely. And I think he could be like a breakout person. We'll have to see on that. A lot of people were hating on the deal, which is kind of funny. I don't understand why you would hate on trading a prospect for Nomar Mazara, who, even though he's had a down year, Steele Walker, 23 years old, 140 days. Nomar Mazara, 24-year-old, 235 days. Only a year apart, and you have a guy who's a
veteran.
Who's been in the league for 4 years now.
Yeah, this is his 5th season coming up. He played with the Rangers. They're not bad ball club historically. I mean, I wouldn't say they're one of the best, but he's shown a lot of signs. He's got like a higher ceiling. He's young, like you said, he's 24. If he can keep his average up, that's a huge score for the White Sox.
Oh, yeah. And, all right, so Mazzara actually has 2 years left on his deal. But, yeah, Steele Walker, 23-year-old, his highest that he's reached in the minors, high A. Not even double A, not triple A, high A. He still has a long way to go.
And he's 24.
Yeah, or he's 23.
Or 23, okay.
1 year younger than a guy who's been in the league for 4 years now. So don't understand the hate for that. The White Sox fans should be pretty happy.
I'm happy. Hopefully they can pull off maybe Marcell Ozuna or another big-time bat.
I don't know. Well, they might be able to get Ozuna. We'll have to see. Because their lineup right now is Anderson, Moncada, Abreu, Mazzara, Eloy,
Yasmani,
Grandal. Did I say Abreu?
You did say Abreu. From what I'm seeing, the potential 2020 lineup, there's Luis Roberts. No. Nick
Madrigal,
second baseman.
Yeah.
And then, so we still have a DH, which is going to now be Mazzara, or Mazzara might play right field. We don't know. But we will have an open right fielder and an open DH from what I'm seeing. But then again, we do have McCann at catcher. We still have we had the rookie from last year. I'm drawing a blank on the name right now. So we do have other options, but it would be nice to see.
James McCann's still with the team. He'll be the DH.
That's what I'm saying. James McCann and then Zach Collins.
Yeah.
Zach Collins was not bad last year.
So that's like a solid team. Well, I don't know if they'll sign Ozuna now because they do have corner outfielders.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to see on that. And then the final one, well, Yoshitomo Tsutsuko, he signed with the Rays, power bat from Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Signed for like $8 million for 2 years or something. We'll have to see how he does. I think he'll fit well. I don't know too much about him. Don't want to talk about him too much. That's just. I don't want to say too much and be wrong. I don't know much about him.
Yeah, we don't know too much about him, but yeah, I mean, there's still action in the MLB, but I think that's gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, pretty much. Tanner Roark signed with the Blue Jays to eat innings. Signed for $12 million a year to get smacked around for a couple of years.
$12 million sounds like a lot, but in baseball, it really is just like, eh.
Well, $12 million too. Like, yeah, he signed with the Blue Jays, which means he has to go through Canadian taxes, which is worse than Americans. So that's why it's a lot there. So yeah, pretty much that's it for all of baseball this week. A lot. We talked a lot about baseball this week. I have 10 minutes on the timer, but like, who knows where I didn't start the timer right away. I started 10 minutes ago.
Because you just wanted to talk about baseball all day. So anyways, we're going to transition over to the NFL. The NFL was an up and a down week for many of reasons. Fantasy playoffs, semi-championships. We had the actual, so many good matchups. We had the Bears and Packers. And Healy lost the bet. As we talked about in the beginning of the episode, currently rocking the Cheesehead still.
Man.
It looks pretty good. It looks pretty good on you. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Oh, my God. At least it was a close game, but, like, oh, man. Early on in that game, could have made a factor. I can't believe this is, like, a non-reviewable call or something. Like, I hate the NFL rules and, like, how only certain things are reviewable. Why isn't everything reviewable?
And that's what we talked about a few weeks ago. It's like, what is reviewable? What draws the line for challengeable plays? I feel like this should have been challengeable. As a Packers fan, I was sitting there watching it.
If you guys don't know what play we're talking about, there was a punt early on. The Bears punted.
First quarter.
The returner didn't call for a fair catch. So as soon as he touched the ball, Cordero Patterson on the Bears timed it up perfectly. Lit him up, fumbled the ball. Bears got it. And then the ref said that he hit him before he even touched the ball.
It was kick-catch interference. When I first saw the flag, I thought one of two options. Fair catch interference, which we didn't see him wave for the fair catch. And then like roughing, I guess like a personal
Like a
unnecessary roughness, I'm sorry. Like a helmet to helmet hit. They showed the replay. Perfect hit.
Yeah.
I don't think, besides Julio Jones, I don't think there's an offensive player who actually lines up and tackles like that.
He's great on special teams.
Oh, he's awesome on both sides of the special teams. It was a bad call, which we saw lead to Aaron
7
Rodgers
points.
throw a touchdown to Davante Adams. My argument is it was 4th and 6. You had one safety over the top. Clinton Dix bit on whatever the play was, left him wide open. Regardless, Green Bay ends up winning by 8 points, which is the one score, the touchdown and the 2.
Yeah.
It came down to the end. I almost had a heart attack.
Oh my! I was freaking out.
I thought they were gonna score. I don't know how they did. I could tell you how they didn't score. This schmuck, this jabroni,
Orsted.
had the ball, and I think he saw the corner of the end zone, and he channeled his inner whatever player he was thinking, his inner sweetness, and instead of lateraling the ball to Cohen,
Allen Robinson.
or Allen Robinson was there. They both were right there.
With Anthony Miller as a blocker. It wasn't like Robinson and then maybe like a Packers guy would have gotten over there. No, it would have been flipped and Miller would have made the block. And
Anybody.
Robinson
Yeah,
would
and
have been in there.
all I remember is yelling, and nobody went for the ball. It was on the ground. It was a fumble. Nobody went for the ball. And I'm sure at that point they were all discouraged. But I just remember seeing Allen Robinson, and then Cohen is behind, and he's like flipping out. And I don't blame him because he's like the fastest guy on the field.
They were 7 yards away from the end zone with no one in front of them.
They almost pulled off the Miami Dolphins special as they did last year against the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been heartbroken. But it didn't end up that way. I'm happy. Packers still have the 2nd seed in the NFC with the first round bye. Depending on what happens this weekend and next weekend, obviously it's still tough. It's close. Overall, it was a pretty good game. We saw Aaron Rodgers. He
had no pressure on him.
He only got sacked once. I was surprised. Mac, I saw in his face one time.
He didn't get hit any other times.
Yeah, and
Mac was double teamed a lot that game.
You have to. I think in week 1, Mac got to Rodgers a couple of times. Rodgers. And this has been the story of Rodgers all season. I would say even last year. You look at his stats, 200 yards only. He had 1 touchdown, 48% completion rating, but he still makes the throws that count the most. He had a throw to Kumaro, who put everybody in the spin cycle, and then they challenged that play, which I guess didn't make a big difference. They wasted the timeout. They said he stepped out of bounds. Clearly didn't. It was hard to tell. But overall, Aaron Rodgers, I'm a little worried as a Green Bay fan because now we have to rely on Aaron Jones for his 4 to 5 yard carries that he's forcing a lot of times just because he's so strong. Aaron Rodgers, that's all I have to say. He made the right plays regardless of if they should have had the ball or not. That throw that he had to Davante Adams was huge, and that was all Aaron Rodgers. He threw it where nobody else could get to it.
Davante Adams is so good.
He's so good.
I was talking to a friend, and I don't think there's ever been a time in my lifetime in a Bears-Packers game that there hasn't been a wide receiver on the Packers that just destroys the Bears. It's been Adams, then it's been Nelson, then it was Randall Cobb,
Greg Jennings,
Donald Driver,
James
Jones. They always have
Jones.
that one guy who just destroys the Bears. That playmaker who is reliable.
Yeah, Green Bay is really, really good at developing. They have a good system. I don't think there's ever been a time where they didn't have more than one threat on the receiving side. I would say this year was the first year because we don't have Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb kind of fell off a little bit. But I would say, yeah. You hit nail on the head right there. There's always that one player. Always.
It was so annoying to
Week
watch.
1 was a little weird. If I looked at the stats, I don't know if anybody did really anything in week 1. It was just a weird week.
It was 13-3, I think.
Yeah, it was the final score, 1 touchdown in the whole game. This one lived up to the hype. It was a good game. Unfortunately, the
Trubisky
Bears
started putting passes on. Where was the offense in the first half? Why did Nagy go back to his first half offense? Did you notice that?
he didn't throw down the field at all.
No, it was screenplay after screenplay.
There was a play, I forgot which quarter it was. It was like 3rd and 16, and it was was it a receiver screen? Yeah. Like, you're gonna get 16 yards? That's never worked for you.
No. And then in like the 3rd and 4th quarter, Trubisky started making sick throws. There was that one where he like went out of the pocket, ran forward, threw it across the field perfectly.
He did that
Miller.
twice in the game. He literally threw across his body on the run twice.
Oh
Very
my God.
Patrick Mahomes-esque of him. He hit 4 rushes for 29 yards. This is the Trubisky the Bears fans saw last year. Should have seen all season this year, and I'm almost positive it's just bad play calling.
Yeah.
Or Trubisky finally said, hey, maybe I should be throwing on the run more often. I mean, it's clear as day. The last 4 or 5 games, he's stepped up. He went from worst to, I would say, a top 10, top 15 quarterback in the league.
I would say 15-ish at
15.
most.
15.
He made that sick throw where he went to his left, had to like turn his body all the way and throw it towards the middle of the field. And there was no one on that guy because what quarterback turns the complete opposite way and just makes that throw?
That's an interception waiting to happen.
That was a strong throw too.
Oh, yeah. No, Trubisky's got an arm. He didn't have he threw 2 picks, but it's like...
One was a forced one. It was like an end of half one. The other one, I think, was the other one was right to the lineman late in the game.
Oh, correct. Yeah.
Oh,
one was at the end of the first half. I think Jair Alexander intercepted.
It was a Hail Mary.
Yeah, it was a Hail Mary throw. And then, the one of the linemen, that was
weird.
That was horrible. Somebody said that the running back ran the wrong route, but it's like the lineman hit it from the get-go. It was a good catch. There was a Hail Mary play Trubisky had that almost got caught in the end zone.
Yeah, it got deflected to the back of the end zone. It hit Ridley in the arm.
Oh, yes, Ridley, which Ridley we didn't see all year. This is the brother of Calvin Ridley. Riley Ridley, I think he showed signs. I mean, he only had 2 catches for 10 yards. I shouldn't say showed signs, but I think they should have had him involved more in the pass game. But you know how it goes. They had Allen Robinson, 7 catches, 125 yards.
Beast.
Like
Not a Pro Bowler.
Which, yeah, we already know how these All-Star games and Pro Bowl games go. It's all fan votes. I think Allen Robinson is one of the best in the game. He's proven it week in, week out. Anthony Miller had an awesome game. 9 catches.
He's been showing out the past couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah, especially with there's some injuries to the receiving core. Taylor Gabriel was out. So that definitely opened the door for Anthony Miller. 9 catches, 118 yards. He scored a touchdown. They didn't look bad. Even if they win out, unfortunately, they are eliminated from playoff contention.
Yeah, unfortunate.
It's unfortunate, but it's a good thing. You're a cheesehead now, so.
Yeah, go Packers. Mm-hmm.
You heard it here first. Some other games we saw on Thursday night.
I wanted to point out at the end of the game with the lateral play where Trubisky had the ball and no one made an effort to tackle him at all.
He literally had they all backed up. They slowed down.
I think the reason why is because they were afraid he was just going to randomly slide and they hit him.
And it's a 15-yard penalty and they get one last play.
I think they were just waiting for him to initially just toss it away.
And I think that's clearly what led to almost that touchdown play.
Because they're all just surrounding him then.
It's all right.
But yeah.
Bears fans, don't feel bad. I'm a Packers fan. We saw a few years ago, we had an onside kick to recover that we didn't against the Seattle Seahawks. So, if anything, I think mine was way worse than yours. But yeah, anyways, there were some other good games. We saw Lamar Jackson on Thursday night.
5 touchdowns.
He
He leads the league in passing touchdowns what number do you think he is in attempts on the year out of like 32 quarterbacks?
Out of 32 starting quarterbacks with like a certain minimum, I would put him at 20th.
He's 25th in attempts.
Oh, it's close.
So he's 25th in pass attempts, and he has the most touchdowns in the football, which means that offense is very efficient, and they know when to pass the ball.
They're scary. They're very scary offense. I mean, 5 passing touchdowns. He's done that twice this year. He's got a few 4-touchdown passing games. His legs. And then, Mark Ingram complements that offense extremely well. I don't think he gets enough credit. He's night in, night out. He's breaking through the line. I'm pretty sure, averaging well over 4 yards a carry. Probably on his way to a 10-touchdown season. It's that Ravens team to me right now is one of the scariest teams I've seen because their defense is really good.
Yeah, they're back to that Raven-esque type of season.
They had 12 Pro Bowlers, which is tied for the most ever.
They're a great team. Mark Ingram on the year, he has
10 touchdowns.
10 touchdowns, yep. And he has 963 yards.
So he's going to hit 1,000 yards unless they bench him for some reason, but I highly doubt they will next week. Really, really good team. Dominated the Jets. Jets aren't that great, but you still got to go out there and show out, and the Ravens have been doing it. We did see Seattle beat Carolina, so Seattle won.
They're the 1 seed now.
They're the 1 seed because the 49ers lost on a last-second touchdown
to Julio Jones.
The man, the myth, the legend. It was
to the Falcons.
To the Falcons. It was the craziest. So they originally ruled him no touchdown, hit at the half-yard marker, and then the replay showed that the ball did break the plane. Julio scores, and then there was the onside kick that got returned. Or there was a fumble. I think it was a fumble that got returned by the Falcons, so that's why the score was bigger than what it was.
It's 29-22.
Yeah. Otherwise,
I think the final score, it ended up being like 1 second left.
Yeah, there was 1 second, and then I think there was like a garbage touchdown on the kickoff return.
It was only 29-22.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There might have been a fumble, but they might not have scored actually.
Okay. So either way, there was that. It looks like. No, there was. Yep. So Julio Jones caught it with 2 seconds. They missed the 2-point conversion, so they were up 1.
Oh.
And then there was a kickoff. It was a lateral that fumbled.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So otherwise, regardless, Atlanta won the game.
Yeah.
But then that extra point. I mean, if anybody had Atlanta's defense for some random reason in their fantasy playoffs and the special teams points count, hats off to you.
I hope the spread wasn't below 7.
Yeah, you know what? I really don't even know what that spread was. But so Seattle has the number 1 seed, meaning the 49ers, this great football team that just beat the Saints in a shootout, are now a wild card team.
They'd be in Dallas playing the Cowboys,
which I think shouldn't be an issue. Cowboys would be home. The whole NFC East, as we've said all year, has been awful.
Yeah.
So
they're tied now 7-7.
Yeah. So the Cowboys won.
Their first win over a 500.
Yep.
Above 500 team.
Yeah, and
they look good.
They did. Now, granted, it was the Rams. We still don't know what Rams are actually playing this year. We know last year they dominated so much. This year they showed signs. They were 8-5 going into the week. Gurley ended up getting into the end zone. They're passing. They could not get anything going.
Jared Goff is. I watched the Bears game with Trubisky, and then watching the next game, which was the Cowboys-Rams. It was terrible watching Goff, and he's gotten paid, which is wild. They spent all that money on Goff, and
yeah,
it's unfortunate.
I feel like that's a common theme for a lot of players. Maybe not quarterbacks. I feel like quarterbacks get paid, and they still continue to produce.
It's so hard to replace a quarterback. That's why they get paid.
Yeah, but the thing is with Goff, Jared Goff has had many of weapons. Last year he was able to pass to Gurley didn't have a bad year last year. He was catching a lot of passes. Brandon Cooks,
Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp's incredible. I mean, they have a huge, really good receiving core. It's just Jared Goff just doesn't make the right passes. He had some throws that were just horrible. It was almost like him and Trubisky swapped jerseys. But yeah, so San Francisco's clinched. Minnesota, all they have to do is win one of the final 2 games, and they'll clinch that second wild card spot. I think they'll be an okay team to watch in the playoffs. And then we also had, let's see, what other games were there?
The Eagles beat the Redskins, which they were down.
That was a close game.
Forth.
Redskins have been like a weird team this year. They gave Green Bay some troubles. They started off like 0-6, 0-7. We saw Houston pull away a win against Tennessee by 3 points. Tennessee's been playing pretty damn good football.
Yeah, unfortunate that they lost.
And
this Saints game?
That Saints game was wild.
Drew Brees, 29 of 30, 22 passes in a row, and he broke the all-time passing touchdown record, which is hilarious because behind Manning by 1 touchdown was Tom Brady. So Tom Brady isn't going to sniff that record for a second because Drew Brees he'll extend it before Brady could ever catch up.
Yeah, there's no way Brady's ever going to. I mean, at this point, Brady has, I don't know.
So, yeah, 4 touchdowns, 29 of 30, 307 yards. And then you had Michael Thomas with 12 receptions, 128 yards, targeted 12 times. So he caught every ball that was targeted towards him. And Michael Thomas is the only receiver, I think, to have 10 games of 10 receptions or more.
In the history.
In a season.
Yeah, he's at 133 receptions. The record is 144? Yeah. 147? Well, Marvin Harrison, 2 games left. I don't see how he doesn't break the record. Is he the best receiver in the game? I don't know who's better.
He's just unstoppable. And the thing is, like, you could say, oh, he's with Drew Brees. Oh, that offense makes him great. Teddy Bridgewater. How many games did Teddy Bridgewater play?
4 or 5 games. And
that's
they
a
won.
lot. And he scored a lot, too. Or
he just doesn't drop passes. He has 1 drop, I believe,
he's a good route
season.
runner.
He's great. He's He's been doing it the past few years. He's 26 years old only. I don't know
what he just got paid.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he got paid. I don't even know what his contract was. Was it like 5-6 years? But regardless of that, he had a hell of a game. 12 catches, 128 yards, dominated. We had Buffalo pull away from Pittsburgh, so they clinched their playoff berth.
Shout out to them.
Yeah, huge shout out to Buffalo. They've been probably the most surprising team. I would say one of the most surprising teams. Josh Allen continues to turn the ball over, but then still make the right plays, in the fourth quarter. Defense is great. I don't think they're going to end up taking the division. I think they'll stay a wild card team.
No way.
They did beat Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh is tied with Tennessee, but they have the tiebreaker, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if they played Tennessee, but they have a better conference record for percentage-wise. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I personally like the way Pittsburgh's been playing with all the drama, the injuries, and they're on their 3rd-string quarterback, and they had to bring the towel boy in to pass for like 4 games, and it's been interesting to see. I do like Tennessee, so we'll see what happens there. Let's see, any other big games, really? I think that was pretty much it. Minnesota won. Yeah, Minnesota won. Tom Brady, the Patriots, I thought in the first 6 minutes had a potential to lose to Cincinnati, because Cincinnati was actually playing pretty well. And then we saw the Patriots do what the Patriots normally do, and that was dominate. They won 34-13. Overall, Tom Brady had a horrible game. He threw 15 of 29, 51% completion rating, only 128 passing yards. He did throw 2 touchdowns and no picks, which was huge. Ultimately, they got the win. They ran for like 160 yards on the ground, and then they forced Andy Dalton to throw 4 interceptions. So again, this defense is what's keeping them in games.
The thing about Tom Brady too, I saw a stat. I think he had like a 40 quarterback rating for that game, and he might have like the most like 40 ratings in the season.
He did. He started off. He ended up getting it up because of his touchdowns, but it started off horrible.
I think they've won every game that he's had like a 40 quarterback rating. That might have been it, but he does not look great, which is kind of wild. Last year, like as he's gotten older, you think, oh, maybe this is the year he finally does bad. Maybe this is the year the age finally catches up with him. The age looks like it's catching up with him. He doesn't have the weapons, though.
He does not have the weapons, but how often has Tom Brady truly had the weapons versus him creating the weapons?
Besides Moss, no one.
Nobody. Oh, sure, he's had Wes Welker.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can grab any
Deion Branch.
Yeah, Deion Branch early on.
But like the late career stuff,
Julian Edelman, he's another Wes Welker. He's not a big, deep threat. He had Josh Gordon for a little bit of time. He couldn't stay off the weed. He had Antonio Brown for a game. He is just full of drama. And I don't know. I mean, he might get 4,000 passing yards again in his career and add to his stat total. But definitely, I would say this year is the year where we're seeing him. First of all, he can't take many more hits.
No.
He cannot take any more hits.
He can't move, so he just has to take them.
Yeah, he's slow. He's not to take anything away. I would still take him in the playoffs, like I say every week. I will never bet against Brady or Belichick as long as they're alive and playing in the playoffs. But I don't know if we are going to see Tom Brady next year or the year after. But nonetheless, still a playoff team. They are first in the AFC East. They are, what are they, 11-3? No,
yeah,
12.
They're 11-3, so they're the 2 seed at the moment.
Okay, so they are the 2 seed.
We'll have to see what happens. Do the Bills and Patriots play this week?
I believe that is the matchup this week.
All right, so we will see if the Patriots win. I think they clinch. Oh, no, they lost to the Chiefs. So they don't clinch until the season's over. They have to win out to get the bye. If the Bills win, then they could potentially be a bye seed and be leading the division. So it'll be a good game this week with that. Eli Manning, possibly his last game ever. He's balled out the past couple of weeks.
Eli's weird. There's historically in his career, he's never been an elite quarterback. He's known for, obviously, a couple Super Bowls.
Yeah.
But
he's never been, terrible.
I think he just doesn't give a shit, right? He doesn't care. He doesn't care.
He's made his money. He's made his case. He's won his 2 Super Bowls. Like, if he was in Tom Brady's position, he's like, I'm not going to say, all right, take this with a grain of salt. If he was in Tom Brady's spot right now, I think they'd be performing the same, and people would be all over Eli, as if oh my God, this guy's amazing still. But Eli, with how bad the Giants are, they're just oh, he's terrible. But they have such a bad team. The team makeup's so different.
Defense is not good. Sure, they have Saquon Barkley last year and this year. That's pretty much it. The receiving core is not bad.
He's just getting pushed out because he's older and they're in a rebuilding phase. And there's no need to play him when they're going to lose regardless with the team that they have.
Exactly.
So his career is kind of getting forced to an end. But he balled out in that last game.
Yeah, he did pretty well. They, granted it was Miami, but, Miami's started winning a couple of games.
Yeah.
So they aren't
it still is one of the worst. The Giants are worse.
But the Giants are bad, too. So if you have 2 horrible teams going at it, at the end of the day, they're 2 good teams if you really think about it when they're on the field. So.
And then I think this will be the last news. Josh Gordon suspended indefinitely again. I think it's done.
Is it news?
No.
It's not news.
He just could not stay off the weed. Whatever happened.
PEDs, too. So
does that count under it, or?
I don't know. Well, no, I don't think marijuana counts under PEDs. I think it might have been. I don't know. I don't know the details.
He got suspended indefinitely.
Yeah, he's probably done. I mean,
he's already got let back once or twice after being suspended indefinitely.
But he's been suspended like 4 times in total, or 5 maybe.
Yeah,
and it's like
he's been reinstated like twice. So third time, I don't see him coming back. And wasted talent.
If we had a Shaq'd in a Fool segment, he would be on there. I don't know how many chances you're gonna get
for a guy that's that talented. You can't turn it around. He was one of the best wide receivers. He had the potential, and now it's he'll be one of those that you talk about what if for the remainder. So,
yeah, Josh Gordon was great. Josh Gordon was great, and he was a Brown. Speaking of Browns, real quick, Odell is open to the idea of not playing with the Browns after this year, and I just want to point out there, he said he would be open to playing with Aaron Rodgers. So if that happens, I will be the happiest man in all the world. And I'm just saying, Aaron Rodgers, he might be playing like he's 25 again. But anyways,
maybe.
That's pretty much going to do it for the NFL. Again,
fantasy picks?
Yeah. We do have my quick picks for FanDuel. If anybody plays on FanDuel, that's the scoring I go based off of. That's the lineups I do. So every week, I try to give a budget buy, someone who's worth more than what the price is. So this week, super cheap play. It's worth a shot. It's against Kansas City. Tariq Cohen, I played in my flex spot. Kansas City is the 29th worst team against running backs for fantasy points given up. My expensive player for the week is going to be I have a couple. I'm going to give 2. One, Russell Wilson against Arizona. Arizona's ranked 32nd in the league. Russell Wilson has a reason to play and win. And then I have Devontae Adams. So Russell Wilson is worth 8,300. Devontae Adams is worth 8,200. He is facing Minnesota's defense, who has given up the 25th worst. And again, Green Bay is playing for a reason. Green Bay wants a first-round bye. Green Bay wants to play at home. Historically, I feel like they don't play too well in domes. They need this bye more than anything.
Yes. You want, especially with the tundra, the frozen tundra.
The frozen tundra.
Teams don't want to play there in the cold, and they're used to playing there in the cold. You can't go to another team's place and expect.
Exactly. If it means the 49ers come to Green Bay, West Coast to the frozen tundra, I like Green Bay's chances. We've been playing there all season.
Other way around? Probably not.
Probably not, because, well, we already saw what happened.
Yeah, especially with the Chargers. So, yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for the NFL. NBA news. James Harden got snubbed out of another Player of the Week. He averaged like 44, and they gave it to a guy who scored like 25. Carmelo's been playing well.
Carmelo has been playing pretty well.
Of course. How many games has he played this year? Let's take a look right now. Carmelo Anthony
on the year with the Trailblazers. He's averaging about 17 points a game.
He's played 13 games. I said he wouldn't last longer than 20. They've also fulfilled his contract the rest of the year.
They did, which I think was a good move for both ends. He's played 13 games. He's averaging 32 minutes a game, which
good. For
him at his age, it's proven he still has it. He's shooting 42% from downtown, which is huge. Yeah, especially for a team that likes to shoot the 3 ball. They depend on it.
Especially when he's a career 35% shooter.
Yeah.
And he's shooting 43 almost. That's great. His highest in his career is this right now. So as long as he can keep it up, go ahead. 16.8 points per game. That's what you like to see.
6 boards. I didn't expect much from him. To be averaging 17, and they still have C.J. McCollum. They still have Dame Lillard, some other weapons out there. Hassan Whiteside. They're not a bad team. They just played yesterday, beat Phoenix by 1 point, 110 to 111. Obviously, we know about Phoenix. Devin Booker, he can ball out. Harden though, back to Harden. Is he the best player in the NBA?
No, he's not. He might be. He could be the best scorer.
Best scorer. Let me rephrase that.
Right.
Is he the best scorer in the NBA?
Yeah, he had. I think last week he had a 55 and a 54-point game.
Yeah, back-to-back 50-point games.
And one of them, he shot 6 free throws, and he was 19 of 31.
He's averaging 39 points a game, 7.4 assists, 6 boards. So his assists and rebounds dropped, which we expected. When you have Russell Westbrook, you have Clint Capella, those guys love to crash the boards. This allows James Harden to just focus on that offensive mastermind of his step back. He's doing it all. He's shooting almost 45% from the field, 36% from 3, which that's like his career average anyways.
Yeah.
I would say hands down best scorer in the league. I don't think there's really anybody. When Steph Curry was great, he was like the only
lights out. James Harden he could shoot it from deep. He can get to the basket, get free throws. He knows how to get the points.
Exactly.
And he will.
So, he had 55 against Cleveland, 54 against Orlando. And then he also came out and dropped 39 points against Detroit in a losing effort. But that's between those 3 games. He put up 140 points in 3 games.
Yeah, like 150.
Yeah, and then he's already had a 60-point. Actually, let's count this. He's had a 60-point game, 50. So if we count all 50-point games for James Harden, he has a total of 5 50-point games already. We're in December.
That is nuts.
That's, I don't know, it's
50-plus point games. And he had a 49-point game, so almost 6. He's had 11 games with 40 or more. He's had 20 games of 30 or more. His lowest points this year in a game, 19. 19.
Yeah. And actually, for him to score 19 points, so any other player, 19 points, you don't even think anything of it. You're like, oh, that's a solid game. James Harden to score 19, you're like, shit, what did he do? Shot 2 of 13 from the field against Giannis on, was that opening night? That was opening night.
Yeah.
So since opening night, take away his 19-point performance, he's probably averaging 40 points a game, easily, on the season. So
yeah, just ridiculous.
Yeah, so we saw that. There was not too many other news. We saw the Bulls drop another game in the fourth quarter.
To the Thunder, I think it was.
It was the Thunder.
And I saw a photo on Twitter of Wendell Carter and Kobe White taking a photo with Chris Paul, and they were smiling.
It's
so bad to see the Bulls play. Like, I get that you're young, you aren't supposed to be good, but as a professional, blowing a game late, and you're smiling afterwards, taking photos, that can't happen.
Yeah.
That's not a good mindset.
You lost the game. Like, I get it. You know, everybody's like, oh, play to have fun. Yeah, except for let's factor in the millions and millions of dollars. The fact that you're in the Chicago market, for your professional team, so you are under the radar always. I think it comes down to Boylen. Personally,
they've probably given up on him. That's why they don't care if they lose.
And the thing is, they're still a playoff team. They're still in contention. They're only 2 games out of the 8th seed.
Oh, my God.
I'm just saying. I never said they were going to be... I did say they would be over 500. But I definitely guaranteed a playoff season, which could still happen. But, yeah, that's bad. I hate seeing it as a Bulls fan. Zach LaVine will go drop 40 points and do whatever he's going to do. And then the next game he has like a mediocre game. But I think the biggest thing is we've lost at least 3, maybe 5 games in the fourth quarter. OKC, we were up, if I'm not mistaken, 20 points at one point in the second quarter. Yeah, we were up 21 points at the end of the first quarter.
It's not great. Speaking of the Bulls and coaches, why isn't Mark Jackson a coach anymore? He built that Warriors team And then all of a sudden he got thrown to the side, and then Steve Kerr came along and like took all the credit. Why hasn't Mark Jackson been a coach?
I've always wondered that too.
He would be great for the Bulls. He's still like a solid coach. You saw it with the Warriors, and then I don't remember why they got rid of him. Maybe it was for like a playoff performance, or they finally couldn't do anything. I'm not sure what happened. I can't remember.
There was rumor that he's blackballed, and I was talking about this last week with somebody because he was a good coach. That Warriors team was built under Jackson. Kerr came in,
And then that's when they went off.
and they won. Did Kerr help?
Maybe
Sure.
with a 3-point shooting. But all the pieces were there with Jackson.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. I think Iguodala over the summer said that he believes that he was blackballed from the NBA. I'm curious to know why. I don't know how you could get blackballed when you're a good coach. You had a whole NBA career.
Yeah, unless he like said something.
Yeah, there's more to it. I'm curious to know. I'm gonna read up on that, but he's a basketball analyst for is he with ESPN, I believe? Yeah, he's with ESPN. So he's a genius. And
Maybe he gets another job. We'll have to see.
But it's Chicago's front office isn't really the wisest. Obviously, we've traded away some great talent historically since Michael. Coaching wise, this is definitely the worst. I don't think it gets as bad as this.
I thought Hoiberg was bad. It just keeps
I want
getting
Hoiberg
worse
back.
and worse.
I want Freddie back.
Like the worst thing about Thibodeau, he was a good defensive minded coach. The worst thing about him was he just ran people into the ground.
He was rough.
So that didn't work out too well. Something that I wanted to talk about, probably a funny thing, was one of the Thunder games. It might have been late in the game or something. And Chris Paul decided to get smart and point out that someone's jersey wasn't tucked in.
It was technical foul.
Yeah, so
Yes.
He gave him a technical foul. They got a point. I think it
won into overtime, and they won the game.
Yeah, because of that. And then the NBA sent out a memo for refs to look out for that. And I think it was Orlando. It might have been Markelle Fultz or Alfred Payton. Someone hopped onto the court as they were tucking in their shirt, but they were on the court with it not fully tucked in, and they got called for it. And the guy got mad and was like, "What the fuck?" And the ref told him, "Thank Chris Paul." Because the NBA sent out a memo afterwards. So I thought it was hilarious how they did that. And the ref called him and was like, "Well, thank Chris Paul because the NBA sent out a memo and we have to look for it now."
Yeah, it ended up being Jordan Bell against the Nuggets. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Not against the Nuggets. Jordan Bell, who was that game? It just happened, last week?
I don't even know what team Jordan Bell's on anymore.
Oh, I'm sorry. Alfred Payton on Denver.
Yeah, so it was
Alfred Payton. Yeah, Alfred Payton on Denver. I never played basketball like that to know. I mean, you would think every sport you should keep your jersey tucked in besides football. Well, football you should because they're going to pull on your jersey.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just heads up basketball by Chris Paul. I mean, he's a genius. We know that.
Yeah, it's a petty move, but if you're trying to win, you gotta pull some stops.
I think that looks good for him too. Obviously, he cares to still win. It's funny to me. They did end up. Did they get the win? No, they ended up. Did they lose that game? I think they might have. Let's see. Well, if it was against Denver, it was their last game they lost. But still, to still force that, to get that point going to OT,
Yeah.
I think it was kind of funny.
And then for them to enforce it on someone else in a completely different game.
Yep.
Speaking of the Lakers, they finally lost their 4th game of the year. They broke their 14-game winning streak tonight, 105-102 to the Pacers.
To be fair, They did play without Anthony Davis.
Ooh, that is big.
They did, I don't know if it's load management, whatever it's going to be. LeBron did not shoot the ball very well. He had 20 points.
Shot 50% from the line.
50% from the line. For LeBron, I don't even think historically he's like a 75% free throw shooter.
It's getting worse as the years go on.
Yeah, so LeBron had an okay game. We saw Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard had a hell of a game, 10 for 10 from the field. He had 6 boards only. Normally you like to see him crash the boards a little bit more. LeBron had a dish.
Yeah, I saw that.
Was that behind his head?
Yeah. He had a behind the back pass too.
In that same game?
Yeah.
Yeah, so LeBron's still amazing me, even at his age. I still think he's one of the greatest in the game right now, clearly.
Mm-hmm. He's averaged in his career 73.5% from the line.
Mm-hmm.
This year he's averaging 68. The year prior, 66. So his percentages are going down, which is weird. You would think as you get older, you'd be able to hit that shot more with how many free throws you hit, and just with age, you develop a shot. I don't know why he doesn't shoot the ball well from the free throw line.
It's one of those things with big guys. He's not known as a shooter. I mean, he can shoot the ball, obviously mid-range, long-range if he has to. His inside game is great. But that was the one thing that he really developed over the past few years that we've seen is that mid-range, that turnaround jumper that he's perfected. So for him to shoot 51% from the field and only 68% from the free throw line, it's a trade-off. And I think him shooting the way he does from the field, it makes up for it. It definitely makes up for it.
Yeah, just something that was odd that I pointed out.
But yeah, so they are 24-4. Still number 1 in the West.
Same record as the Bucks now. Because who beat the Bucks at home? Was it the Mavericks?
I believe the Mavericks did. They beat them by 4. And that was a game, if I'm not mistaken, Luka Doncic had a 40-point triple-double. Am I wrong?
I'm not entirely sure.
Doncic. Yeah, he might be top 2, top 3 MVP runner.
Yeah, Luka had...
Oh, he didn't...
Did he not play?
He didn't even play yesterday.
He didn't even play.
Who did Luka... Luka had a 40-point triple-double. Oh, I'm sorry. That was against Detroit. I got my games mixed up. So, Dallas beat the Bucks without Luka.
And Giannis played.
And
Giannis dropped 48.
Yeah. Giannis had a hell of a game. 14 boards. He's Giannis. We don't expect anything less from him. Kristaps Porzingis stepped up, had 26 points in that game, 12 rebounds. I've said that duo is one of the nastiest on the court right now.
Speaking of duos, Friday night, I was at a bar. I was watching the Timberwolves Clippers. Timberwolves were down like 25 points, and they got it within 4 points at the end of the game. I could not believe it. Karl Anthony Towns and Wiggins combined for like 80 points. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, they dropped 40 plus each, combining for like 100 points, almost.
Yeah.
So that was like a duo game back and forth. It was wild to watch.
Yeah, that was a crazy game. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, to see them put up each 40 points, which I think, is that the first duo to drop 40-40?
This year?
I think that's the first duo, but it's just...
I think in a while it's been.
Yeah, and these two guys are defensive masterminds. They're known. They're very good on the offense. But that's what makes the Clippers very scary, is when they have two guys that can go off at any point and still play pretty damn good defense. Because the Timberwolves aren't, I wouldn't say they're bad. They have some talent. Karl Anthony Towns is pretty good. But for them, and then Andrew Wiggins too. I'm not the biggest fan of Andrew Wiggins.
No.
I think he is nothing more than an offensive. He's a guard. He doesn't play very well. Karl Anthony Towns is is the future of that franchise. Against the Clippers, he did have 39 and 12, 2 steals. He shot over 50%. I'm glad I have him on my fantasy basketball team. He is truly helping me out. What do we know?
Oh, so it was 34 and 39 for Wiggins and Towns, and there was 46 and 42 for George and Leonard. And fun fact, I saw Karl Anthony Towns have a 4-point play in that game.
He had the 3+1.
Yep. That was sick to watch.
Yeah, I think he's pretty damn good. He's only 24 years old. I mean, that franchise alone, it
hasn't been much since Garnett left.
Yeah.
Which is sad. They're just living in the shadow. It's like the Bulls with D Rose. Like, yeah, they were great when Michael Jordan was there, but they can't ever get back to that hype. They have like a player who's awesome, but they can't get it back up to that hype.
Yeah, you can never. I mean, those were dynasties. With the NBA, you don't see it often. Spurs were doing it for a while with Popovich. Lakers, right after Jordan and the Bulls. That's pretty much it. I mean, even the Pistons had a little run. We know Celtics way back in the day. Pistons, I guess, back in the day had another run. But you don't see too many franchises that truly build dynasties in the NBA. The Bulls had a chance with Derrick Rose and the other talent that they had. Unfortunately, he got hurt. Glad to see he's doing his thing right now. He had a game winner the other day.
Yeah, of course. The day that we went to the Bulls game and they missed a game winner. Of course, Derrick Rose
hits a game winner. Yep.
God.
So
it was right for them to give up on him at that time, but it's just he's still playing well. It's just people think of him for his first couple of years, and that's all he gets compared to.
Exactly. I think I said it last week, and that's, people say, oh, he slowed down, whatever it may be. If you don't compare Derrick Rose to the Derrick Rose from 19 to 23, 24 years old, you would think this guy's an all-star, hands down.
Yeah. You think he's still sick and he would get paid millions of dollars and have a long-term deal.
Yep. We do have the annual Christmas schedule coming up next Wednesday, obviously, with Christmas.
Yeah, next week will be an early episode.
Yes, we're gonna do a super early episode. I don't know exactly when it's gonna be uploaded. It's gonna be earlier than normal.
Tuesday.
Yeah,
because we'll record it on Monday.
Yeah, we're gonna record on Monday.
Oh, while the Packers and Vikings.
Ooh, we'll make it work. For you guys watching, listening, we will make this work. But for the NBA, we have Celtics and Raptors. Should be a pretty good game. We have Bucks 76ers.
That will be good.
That's going to be a good game. That's a playoff matchup right there. I feel like Christmas is the time when the intensity really kicks in because now you're on the final stretch for All-Star break. After All-Star break, trade deadline, last month and a half, 2 months of basketball, playoffs, and I mean that's it. We do have Rockets Warriors.
Ooh,
it's gonna be a blowout, huge blowout. Warriors.
Disappointing.
Yeah. I'd rather watch my high school basketball team play the Rockets. Clippers versus Lakers. 7 o'clock tip off.
That is gonna be.
I will be watching it. I will be having some drinks, eating leftovers. Well, not leftovers. It would be probably like 4 plates deep because that's what I do on Christmas and all the holidays. Good game to watch. Pelicans and Nuggets at 9:30. Could care less. Nuggets should win. Nuggets, in my eyes, are a pretty damn good basketball team. Pelicans, only if Zion is back. Don't think he's going to be back. Probably won't be for a while. But there are definitely 2 really good games to look forward to. Besides that, NBA, it's still early.
Yeah, it's starting to get a little heated up. There hasn't been much difference since the beginning of the year. Luka's still playing well. Harden's still playing well. There hasn't really been a lot of like standout guys, good stories so far.
If you had to predict right now, just based on so far 28, 30 games into the season, obviously we have another little over half a season to play. Who's your finals matchup?
Lakers and We'll go with 76ers.
You're saying the Sixers are going to sneak in past the Bucks.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's
a good prediction.
I think in the playoffs, they'd match up better, and they have a team built to make it. The playoffs are half-court basketball.
Yeah.
The Bucks are fast break type basketball team. And I just feel like in the playoffs, Giannis, he could step it up, but like in a clutch situation, you can't have him put up like 15 jumpers. No, he gets to the rim.
No, he's going to get to the rim. He's going to score and get the foul.
And they don't really have a lot around him. They do have Middleton, but they don't have compared to Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid and Tobias Harris.
Al Horford. Yeah, Josh Richardson can ball out.
Mm-hmm.
I personally do think it will be the Lakers in the West. It's going to be Lakers and Clippers battling for that finals. That's going to be a good matchup. This is going to be LeBron's test.
Unless Harden goes off.
Harden could. Harden very well could. Harden has weapons. They're quiet. They're on the quieter side, but he has weapons. Obviously, Russell's not quiet. But Clint Capella, averaging however many boards he's averaging, and he scores the ball too. Rockets are, I would consider, a wild card threat. Mavericks and Nuggets could very well. But I just think that the Lakers are going to be in the finals. Eastern Conference.
It's still a toss-up.
It's a toss-up. Definitely not the Raptors.
They're decent. They
Toronto.
They don't have Leonard.
They don't have Kawhi. Miami is good. I don't see them winning a 7-game series after the first round. Celtics, again, are good. The one thing that is catching my eye right now is the 76ers are 14-0 at home. And if they get home court advantage somehow, that's huge. I'm going to go with what the standings are showing right now. Giannis is going to lead his team to the NBA Finals, which this may change. This could change. Against the Lakers, LeBron versus Giannis, two front runners for MVP, two teams that can score the ball, that are not bad on defense. LeBron and the Lakers winning it all. That's my prediction.
The Lakers are so deep. Their bench so deep, and then their starting rotation is great. So
yeah. I mean, did you see the fake alley-oop by Rondo?
Yeah. And then LeBron fake blocked.
They had the fake block. That was nice. Rondo's always done that. Rondo's
he's creative.
Always been, he's very creative with the ball. His inside game is so good.
For a point guard.
That he's always been able to fake guys out once he's in the paint because you expect him to drop the dime, but then he's going up. And he's always done that. He did it with the Celtics in their championship run. We saw him do it with the Bulls a couple times. But yeah, so like you mentioned, the Lakers are deep. They still have Kuzma. They have Dwight Howard, who is gained some years back on his life somehow. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that'll do it for this week's episode. We talked a long time. On my timer, I have 105. You guys will know exactly with what Spotify and YouTube tells you. But go to episode a lot to talk about. NFL is going to pick up next week. We talked a lot about baseball. There's so many moves. Don't expect to talk about too much next week. Next week with football is going to be great. And then we'll preview more of the Christmas matchups next week. Like we said, it'll be an earlier episode. Probably a day early. It'll go up on Christmas Eve.
Which is going to be Tuesday.
And same with the week after that. The next two episodes going to come out on Tuesday due to New Year's. And
New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. But yeah, a lot is heating up. A lot's heating up for baseball. The free agency, I think it's going to start to die down a little bit. We still have a couple other free agents. NFL, this is it. We're gonna know. We're gonna know who's gonna be in the playoffs, who's not, who's gonna be seeded as first round buys. Basketball is still basketball. So yeah. So I want to thank everybody again for tuning in to the Standing Room Only podcast. Again, I am Goose. We have Healy, aka newest member of the Cheesehead family. You'll only know that if you watch our YouTube channel and see the big cheese head that he's wearing. Again, make sure you do follow us on social media. We love the interaction between the fans, everybody that listens, downloads, subscribes, Instagram and Twitter. We are on SR Only Pod, YouTube and Spotify, Standing Room Only Podcast. Like, download, subscribe, comment, reach out to us. Reach out to us. We love to hear feedback. We love the questions everybody has to ask. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, you can follow me on social media, the Healy6, and you can follow Goose at iGoose with 4 O's. Don't ask why.
Do not ever ask why. And that's going to do it until next week.
Yeah, we will see you guys later.